talking to all of our viewing audience, because that is something we can be proud of. When you have an idea and you see it to fruition, much like our viewing audience, the parents want to have a control over what children watch. There's so much violence and sex. And you, Joe Jackson, have come up with an invention called a telecommander. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. As we all know, there's been quite a bit of controversy around the country with respect to violent and objectionable programming on television as it relates to impressionable age children. Well, I've come up with a device that will allow parents or empower parents to be able to control the viewing habits of their children. It's a very simple device that hooks up to the television set and can be built into new TV sets that will give parents the discretion as to what is shown on the television in the home.
Beautiful.
Monitoring TV, a governor for the children, the watching TV, and we at Afterthoughts Production and the Good Samaritan House always felt like the TV should be monitored because so many unpositive things comes through the airwaves, and if you want to control, not control your child, that's a bad connotation, but if you want to monitor your children, you're going to have some means to do it, because you're not going to be able to sit there and watch them for 10 or 12 hours a day. So I think your invention is credible, and I know it's going to succeed because it's positive, and Afterthoughts and Good Samaritan House are certainly going to work with you in that direction.
Thank you.
It's interesting to note that here you are among us, to hear that peanut butter, something so common, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, who's not had one, was created or invented by a black person. And more, especially during the month of February, we're learning about other inventions created by blacks. You're both, however, involved with a vehicle that will provide more information about inventions created by blacks for the public at large to be informed of. Can you tell us a bit about that, either of you?
Yes, about 2.5 years ago, I met a young lady. We call her Lady Sala. She had about 8 items that was designed by blacks, and she had a little forum over at a park in Gardena. And I took a look at that and I said, well, gosh, what would happen if this could be made more larger and shown to a larger audience? So we kind of put our heads together and came up with the Black Invention Museum. And from those 8 items, now we have over 125 items that have been replicated and authenticated to be invented by blacks.
From 8 items, it's grown to 125?
Yes.
Over a 2-year period?
Over a 2-year period.
It's pretty impressive.
Yes. And items such as the Gulf tea, the egg beater, the egg incubator, the traffic light, signal light, that was done by Garrett Morgan in 1923, are just some of the items that we display. We take the museum, it's a mobile museum in that it goes around the country with Black Business Expo to about 16 cities per year. We have 4 sets of the museum. It also appears at various civic arenas around the country.
Upcoming, I understand you're both involved with an event that will take place during this summer, and it is an annual event that occurs every year. And at these events, the African marketplace, you will have many of your inventions as well as others on display?
Yes, we'll have our inventions there as well as historical inventions. And we will be talking about an upcoming seminar that we will be putting together, me, myself, and Joe here, and Mrs. Baff, Miss Patricia Baff, Dr. Patricia Baff, I should say.
Yes.
And we're getting all together, and we're really excited about this, putting this seminar together, so we can bring awareness to the public about black inventors and their plots to succeed. And this is where we're at on this issue right now.
Let me ask you a question. This question is directed at both of you. What type of support are you getting? A fair amount of support from the business industry and the communities, the churches, your other organizations such as the NAACP, any organization, the Urban League? Have you contacted these people for support, or have you contacted them, and what were the results?
Well, the support that I'm receiving, or we're receiving really, has been Afterthought Production has been one of in the forefront of giving us support, such as a forum such as this. And with this type of forum, we will be able to then be, how we say, in a position to be able to talked to some of the major organizations, such as you name. Just to walk in cold and say I'm an inventor
Right.
is very difficult to get someone's eye, okay, in this and to show what we're doing. So this forum right here sort of speaks for itself, and to be a vehicle whereby we can do just what you're describing.
Joe, the reason I asked that question, an idea such as positive and feasible as the idea that you and both Joes have came across, have thought of. I feel personally that every organization in the community, including the churches, should become involved in it, because what that doesn't only help the organization itself, but it helps that little child out there. I also
Yes,
was
it
looking at
does.
your brochure, and you have an elderly man holding the hand of a little child, and that's what it's all about. And I believe that eventually that the major organizations in the community are going to come to you. They're going to see the vision.
Yes.
See, and we have to have a vision of sticking together, large or small. I have to say this, most minorities that come to this country, they bind together. They bind together economically, they bind together, if you, so to say, you want to speak in a clannish form, but they're successful. And it's about time that the African American started binding together with all of their mental resources, all their monetary resources, because it's a shame we've been over in this country for this amount of time and we don't have one bank on Wilshire Boulevard. But you see
That's
the
true.
banks are smoked. I'm getting a little off here, but
No,
it's,
you're on
it's,
target.
it's,
Actually, you are right
yeah,
on
you're on
target.
target.
right. And we have to come to the understanding that we must bind together, not to exclude anyone else, but to help ourselves,
Yes.
help each other. One
Yes.
must reach out to the other.
You're absolutely right. You know, I like to always accentuate the positive, and when you ask that question, having talked to most of these organizations personally, trying to get my product developed, it has been quite negative, and I always like to accentuate the positive, so I didn't get into that. But once we get to the position we're in now, we're just about ready to produce the product. I don't think we'll have any problem with them, those organizations acquiescing. But when you're on that ground level and you really need help, and I have gone from the mayor's office to every minority business development entity in Los Angeles County trying to develop the telecommander, okay? And it is not until recently that I've been able to put this together through no help from these entities that profess to
Now-
be there to aid us.
Let me
Let me-
ask a question. I'm
Sure.
sorry.
Go ahead.
To cut off, not to cut you off, but to get from having an idea to having a product, there are a lot of steps involved. And I'm hearing you say you've talked to different individuals, you've talked to different organizations. It seems as though there would be a place where there's a guideline. This is needed, that is needed, this is needed, that is needed. Now, I've heard of the Black Inventors technical resources. Joe Edmonds, can you tell us a little bit about that and how it would help someone get an idea into fruition?
Okay, the Black Inventors Technical Resource is an organization that I put together that helps inventors go from step 1 to step Z or B or A or
Okay.
whichever way you want to put it. But what we basically do is that we take the inventor by the hand and teach him the step-by-step process, which is a kind of complicated process. But once you actually know the process, it becomes uncomplicated.
Yes.
I know the process.
Okay.
And I know the people such as Joe Jackson and Mrs. Patricia Babb that could assist us with these resources, which we have been lacking throughout, is the resources to do these things. Now that we have the resources, now that we have the products, now that we have the people watching us and seeing us,
Yes.
and seeing that we're doing, now that we have the positive note, we're able to move forward now. So we do have an organization called the Black Inventors Technical Resources that inventors can come through, and consultation is free.
That's all well and good that you finally have a monetary hold where you can help all of these people. My main point is, though, how many young people with brilliant ideas before this organization was formed got dissuaded or disgusted with the effort that they were putting forth. Joe had tenacity to keep doing what he was doing, but can you imagine the resources that we've lost in the past
Right.
by not these other major organizations stepping forward?
That's true.
And my main concern is that regardless of the idea that a person is coming up with, he should, in our community, in our African American community, we should have resources for
Yes.
any idea, for
Yes.
any individual to come
Yes.
up with, and have the monetary means to support them.
That's true.
That's what
is
I was
very-
driving at.
Yes.
Yes.
This is very
This
true.
shouldn't. This is good, but it might be too late for somebody to
For
have a-
some
yeah,
others
for
that
some
have
other
come.
person
Yeah.
that wanted to come along with it.
Well, you know, you have to figure it like this, is that, of course, there's been a lot of things stolen from black inventors.
Mhm.
And, of course, I've had a few items that were, you know, kind of stolen from me, I would say.
Mhm.
But, you know, you shouldn't let that, you know,
Deter you.
falter your mind and your way of thinking,
Right.
because, you know, you have to keep moving forward with everything
Yes.
that you're doing, basically. And inventors, you know, when you put a network together, you get the support that you need.
Yes.
And once you get a support system, it's going to be hard to tear that support system down.
That's
Right.
Beforehand, we never had a support system.
Right.
That's gone.
Yes.
The support system is here.
Now that's a great point.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to caution potential inventors on, there are a lot of organizations that ask that you submit your ideas to them and so forth. What actually happened with 99% of these organizations is that, well, you know, inventors are emotionally tied to whatever they come up with. And these organizations will appeal to you in that emotions and wind up sending you a stack of paper of things that you should do and charging you a lot of money. And then they have phase 1, and then there's money for that. Then there's phase 2.
Yes.
By the time you go through phase 3, you've got a stack of papers here, but you still have your idea in your head, and it hasn't gone anywhere. But they have made the money because they have told you that you made the best thing since sliced bread. You're never going to send anything in that they're going to reject. So they're not about making the money off of your product as a whole to the marketplace. They're about making money off of you. So to do what Joe Edmonds is talking about, getting involved with an organization that can help you empower yourself and educate yourself to be able to see how to do these particular tasks yourself, or how to go to the right people in order to be able to get this done. And know and have a check and balance system, and that's what you'll be getting with the technical inventors technical resources, because we'll be able to give you a guideline, and with that guideline it'll keep you from spending needless money.